So, my name is Angelique Rogers de Leon, and today I'll be talking about the food, culture, habits, and health of Poland. So, Poland is located in Northern Europe. This is Poland right there. So, a little bit more about the location and history. As I said, they're located in Northern Europe. They are majority Roman Catholic. And I've attached the fasting and abstinence calendar for 2026 to the right. They boast a 99.8 literacy rate, and they have quite a strong economy. Because of World War II, they, let me say, they were impacted because of World War II, and it created a lasting cultural attitude. And Poland is known to historically shift from a lot of meat toward more freshwater fish and dairy and wild mushrooms. They often find ways to utilize local and expensive foods while maintaining nutritious meals. So, on to the environment and communication style. Poland is a low-lying terrain. It has fertile soil, not ideal for farming, but it's pretty good. It's temperate, and because of the harsh winters, they experience very harsh winters. So because of this, they have very short growing seasons, and they rely heavily on cold tolerant and hardy crops like potatoes, cabbage, beets, wheat, and rye. Poland also operates on a high context communication style. So if someone were to serve you food, it is a gesture of hospitality and kindness. And if you were to refuse this food, it can be perceived as an insult to the host. On to core foods and meal schedules. So sneadane is the breakfast. Oftentimes it's cold cuts, cheeses, meats. It's pretty light. Boiled eggs, some bread, and that is followed by the afternoon meal, obaid, which is served between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. It often starts off with a very hearty and hot soup, and then followed by a potato dish with meats and something either pickled or fermented on the side. Later in the evening, they eat collage, collage, which is a light evening meal very similar to the breakfast. Uh, Oftentimes, common flavor profiles in Polish meals are savory. The food is often savory, hearty, and sour. Traditions in medicine. So, because of the cold winters, Poland has basically perfected these preservation methods. They use wood smoking for cheeses, they often dry wild forest mushrooms, and they use lactic acid fermentation for sauerkraut and pickles. A lot of foods also have medicinal purposes in Poland. So, like garlic and honey are used to combat respiratory infections, and much like the soup served before meals, it's said to prevent shocking the digestive system, and it's also used to heal bodily ailments, hot broths or soups. Another tradition is Vigilia, which is a Christmas Eve 12-course feast with no meats, which is kind of in alignment with the Roman Catholicism that is the majority in Poland. Nutrition and health risks. So the leading cause of death in Poland, or deaths in Poland, are cardiovascular diseases. 60% of the adult male population are overweight or obese. Because of the diet, oftentimes they're high sodium, saturated fats, and calories, and high in calorie diets. So processed meats like kielbasa also contribute to this, and the constant cooking in lard and also pickling, which is high in sodium to maintain the food. So this directly impacts the blood pressure for sure. Um, so dietary recommendations. So because of the lack of fresh greens in Poland, the promotion of fermented foods is often very much recommended, and they do a lot of fermented foods already. So another recommendation is just to wash off some of the salt when taking out the pickled foods from the jar, as eating it straight would result in higher sodium. And then shift from frying in lard to maybe just baking or stewing, which they do a lot of already, a lot of stewing, or yeah. So another recommendation is to replace the thick sour cream with low-fat yogurt. This was a recommendation I saw, but to be honest, the thick sour cream that they use is usually homemade and pretty good in terms of, the health. So I think that's okay. So moving on to acculturation. Oftentimes, when Polish folk move to the US, their traditional afternoon meal is disrupted. It's between 2 and 4, and typical lunch times in the US are, let's say, 12 to 1. So oftentimes this is disrupted. And because of this, they often end up eating processed convenience foods. And the combination of both of these diets can unfortunately lead to a development in type 2 diabetes. So that is what often happens because of the American work schedule, and eventually leading to consumption of larger dinners as well. So to conclude, the Polish cuisine is not only beautiful, but it shows the adaptability, and the resilience of the Polish folk. It is a reflection of the history and their religious traditions. So definitely something to learn from and to take notes of. Yes, and thank you so much for your time. This was me in Poland in 2024. Yes, it was great. So thank you so much for your time.